Hello, and welcome to the third episode of Quantum Waves of Wellness. This is Dr. Paula Opro, and today I'm going to share some of the shocking things that I learned about Feng Shui and how I think it's been negatively affecting my life. Listen up, because you just might realize that you could also be in the same boat. Before I begin, I just want to remind everybody that I am a board-certified alternative medicine practitioner, and I've been studying and practicing energy medicine for over 8 years. I'm extremely well-versed in all things energy, specifically the qi running through our bodies. And this is relevant because given my background in energy, I am positively shocked at how bad of a job I did addressing the energy in my home. Let me explain by giving you some basic principles about Feng Shui. First, some areas of our homes are considered active, while others considered passive. The active areas, which are the ones that you should pay the most attention to, are your front door, your bedroom, your living room, and your office. If you did nothing else but pay attention to just these areas, you can greatly improve the energy flow in your home. Now, it would be impossible to learn all about Feng Shui in one podcast, so I'm going to share with you just some of the first steps that I'm personally taking. Just like healing the body, I think it's important to always start by removing the bad before you can make room for the next step, which would be to add the good. I'm going to share some of the terrible mistakes that I have been unknowingly making. Here are the first things that I plan to address. I would call these tips for detoxing your home for better energy flow. First, pay attention to the front door and entryway of your home. Keeping the front door clean is very important, and for me, this is a huge challenge as I live on an unpaved, dusty road. I never put too much effort or emphasis on the losing battle of keeping our front door clean. But from now on, I will make it a priority. After all, energy enters your home through your front door, so a dirty door will bring in dirty energy. And who wants that? Keeping your entryway free of clutter is also key. Now, in my case, this is easy because my husband and I never enter through our front door. We use a side door that enters into what's called a mud room. For those living outside of Maine or New England, this is the room where you take off your muddy boots and layers of winter clothing. In other words, this room is always a cluttered, dirty mess of hats, coats, gloves, sunglasses, dog apparel, etc. It can be a part-time job just trying to keep this room clean, so it often gets left unattended and becomes a total mess. Now, if the first thing you see when you enter your home is a cluttered mess, it immediately scatters your energy. This is a huge strike against me personally. And I would like to also take this opportunity for a side note here. I learned something else interesting while studying Feng Shui. There were many references to keeping spaces clean and tidy for our guests. I think this is such a common thing. We either have rooms in our house set aside that never get used until guests are visiting, or we go on cleaning frenzies only when guests arrive. As if we ourselves are not worthy to sit on the good furniture or live in a clean house. What message does this send to the universe? I am really guilty of this one too. On to the bedroom. Here are some things to pay attention to. You should not have an odd number of pillows on your bed. This is an easy fix. Just add one more decorative pillow for better energy. Be sure there's no clutter under your bed, directly under the space between your head and your heart. Now, it's okay to use the space under your bed for organized storage. Just be sure to keep the top third of the space clear. If you have a mirror directly across from your bed, it's best to use a scarf or blanket to cover the mirror while you sleep. Now, this next one is a very important one. You should have no water features in your bedroom, like fountains, aquariums, or even photos of water. I have one of the most offensive water issues of all. And thinking back, I now recall a conversation that I had with my acupuncturist many years ago. For some strange reason, the subject of a water feature in my bedroom came up during one of my treatments. I can't help but to wonder what she found in my energy that prompted her to inquire about this. And when I told her about this elaborate water feature that my husband and I had just built right after we built my home, my acupuncturist was horrified. You see, our huge bedroom window overlooks a waterfall that spills into a cute little pond that drains under our backyard lawn. So the water is not only flowing right outside the bedroom, but it's also flowing away from the house. So many strikes against us with this. But I refused to listen way back then. All I knew was how much this landscaping cost us and how much I enjoyed looking at it. I was not willing to listen to how bad the energy was. Funny how I said the words, "If I only knew then what I know now," in my first podcast episode. I wonder if that should become my theme. Well, needless to say, in the spring, that entire water feature will be gone. It breaks my heart, but I now know too much about the power of energy to continue to ignore it. Now for the living room. The most important tip here is to place your sofa so that when you're sitting on it, your back is not facing the door to the living room. This one is a bit of a challenge for me because of my open floor plan and lack of doors altogether. I personally have a laundry list of mistakes that I'm currently making in the living room, but in order to explain them, I would first need to explain the concept of personal directions. And since I don't want to open that can of worms just yet, I will table the living room for a future episode. And lastly, the office. As if I wasn't making enough mistakes in the other important rooms of the house, I am so embarrassed to report that my office is simply a disaster. It seems no matter how hard I work, no matter how much knowledge and experience I gain, I'm having trouble making any significant headway in the success category of my life. Yes, I feel the need for a big sigh here. There have been so many times when I felt like giving up because my success just doesn't seem to be in the flow. Well, I was right. It's not in the flow, not even close. And I have to say, learning about Feng Shui made me feel so much better about this fact. I feel like there's some logical justification for my lack of success up to this point. And more importantly, there are now some great feelings of hope that I can rectify the situation. So here are some pointers regarding your office. Your office is so very important when it comes to manifesting success and wealth. The direction you face when you're at your desk is extremely important in Feng Shui. Now, I know I mentioned those personal directions before, and without getting into the specifics here, let me just say that I found out that I have been facing the absolute worst direction in both of my offices. Yes, I have 2 home offices, and both of them have my desk facing southwest. I'm going to share an image in the show notes that illustrates my least auspicious directions and the ones literally labeled worst direction and, you ready for this? Total loss are southwest for me. Go figure. What are the chances that I put my desk in the worst possible spot in both offices? My own personal power direction is southeast, so needless to say, furniture rearranging will be my number 1 priority. Also, although not nearly as important as your desk, your chair should have armrests and a high back. There should not be slots in the back of the chair, and of course, I have a slotted back chair with no armrests. Another sigh inserted here. By now, you're probably curious about the personal directions that I've mentioned, and I don't want to leave you hanging on that topic. In order to figure out your personal direction, you first need to determine what your special energy number is. Feng Shui has strong connections with astrology, and depending on your birth date and your gender, you will fall into one of 9 different energy numbers. Each of these numbers has a different archetypal theme and a different personal direction. There are plenty of places you can get this information for free online. One such page is yourchineseastrology.com. Just input your birthday and gender. No email is required. I hope you take the time to learn your energy number and your own personal directions. Have some fun poking around, and next week I'll share some of the ways that I'm personally planning to add some elements to help increase the flow of positive energy. Thanks for listening, and if you enjoyed this episode of Quantum Waves of Wellness, I do hope you'll subscribe. I'm just getting warmed up.